Welcome, champions, to the next overview and tier list ranking on any new or reworked champion for the current event active for idle champions. This is where we'll break down their mechanics and place them in my overall tier list for every champion in the game. Like always, look at the kitty. Well, I remind you that I stream on Twitch right as I release these videos, so check in there if you want to chat, have opinions, or just want to lurk. We're on the second week of the event, which means today we're looking into the reworked champion, this time being Stoki, the lawful neutral gnome monk, who serves as a support and gold champion, a CNE original that was released back in 2017. Stoki was in much need of some love. Let's see if that love was well placed or not. With her base attack, Flurry of Blows, Stoki will leap out and attack random enemies with her fists. And her ultimate is similar, but this time she punches even harder, at 5 random enemies, and over the next 10 seconds deals bud damage over time. Stoki used to work around marks of ki, but now she is based around building focus points. With Focus Strike, every time Stoki attacks, she gains a focus point for each enemy she hits. She increases the damage of all champions with a base attack cooldown of 4 seconds or less, for 10% for each focus point she has, stacking multiplicatively. They cap out at 100 stacks per area and are reduced by 50%, rounded down, when changing areas. She can increase the maximum cap through Frenzied Friends, where she will raise it by 10 for each champion in the formation whose base attack is 4 seconds or lower. Her gold roll comes from Golden Palm, where enemies that have been attacked by Stoki at any point in the current area drop more gold when killed for each focus point she has. If you're like most people these days doing a bud gold farm with Makos, she will still be the best in seat for gold find, and of course will be for Azaka as well. As long as she is able to land a single hit on an enemy before you Makos Bud Bomb, she'll offer more gold than anyone else in that seat, even Jar or a leveled Palton. In a somewhat similar notion to Minthara and Halcyon before her, she will gain additional benefits based on how many focus points you have currently gained on your current adventure. Even if you reach the cap of 100 in the current area, you can just park her there, as additional marks will still count for this formation ability even if they don't count for Focus Strike. At 100, she gains Encouragement, where champions adjacent to her have their base attack cooldown lowered by 0.5 seconds. At 1000, she gains Flurry of Blows, the same name as her base attack, where every 1000 levels Stoki has, she attacks an additional target with each attack, preferring to attack different targets, but will attack the same target multiple times if there's nothing else to attack. At 5000, she gains Leadership, where champions adjacent to Stoki have a 0.45% chance to reset their base attack cooldown after attacking for each focus point she has, capping at 90%. At 12,500, she gains Overflow, where when she attacks an enemy that she has already attacked, there is a 20% chance the enemy will be stunned for 3 seconds. And finally, at 25,000, she gains Explosion, where if she hits the same enemy 2 or more times with the same base attack, power radiates from the enemy, dealing 5 seconds worth of bud damage to itself and all nearby enemies, which triggers with each extra hit. When it comes to Stoki's specializations, you have some interesting options if nothing else, starting with All-Out Assault, which will make her track the number of attacks her allies have performed in the past 10 seconds, and increase the effect of Focus Strike by 15% for each one, stacking multiplicatively. Bend It Like Birdsong will have her instead count the number of champions in the formation, with a dexterity score of 16 or higher. For each champion that qualifies, her base attack cooldown is decreased by 0.1 second, stacking additively, but will also increase the effect of Focus Strike by 100%, stacking multiplicatively. Lastly, a little bit faster now, will reduce the base attack cooldown of all champions with a default base attack cooldown of 6 seconds or higher to 4 seconds so they can qualify for Frenzied Friends, and Focus Strike for that matter, and their damage is increased by 100%. For every 0.1 seconds, their base attack cooldowns are reduced by this ability, stacking multiplicatively. It's hard to say there's a single option of focus, as it will change drastically depending on what you use as the player. Her equipment is as good as it can be, considering she doesn't have any pre-stack scaling. 2 for all damage, 1 for Golden Palm, one for Focus Strike, one for her Specializations, and finally Ultimate Cooldown. Her feats are kind of in the same category. Boosts for her formation abilities and Gold Find, and event feats for a Charisma boost, and the unique feat of increasing the attack cooldown reduction of building Focus's Encouragement to 1 second instead of 0.5. Her achievement has changed, now requiring her to gain 50,000 focus points in a single adventure. Now, of course, we have to take another look at her availability, which is a bit of a mixed bag. When we're talking about Day 1 Trials restrictions, she's set for all of them, so that's good. But for patrons, she's only available for Vajra and Strahd. But since she's reworked, that throws her into the Elminster pool as well, which is always nice to have more there. So not the best when it comes to patrons. These Day 1s and Elminster are the most important these days though. She was previously in the C-, in need of a rework for sure. After all this, because her decent damage buffing, and becoming the best gold find in her seat, though she doesn't scale great with equipment and just has good availability, kind of alright. But at least all Day 1 trials, she's climbing from the C- to the A tier. There were also updates just released with the game alongside Stoki. For one, Dungeon Master's special guest star ability now unlocks the seat, not just a single champion. And Fenn's Patron's Oath will count even when she's in a background party now, so she does not have to be active in your current party for it to work. Spurt's Slot 6 equipment can now only grant a maximum of 5,280 seconds to ultimate cooldown. You can currently dismantle Spurt for 1 week because of this. Also, Rust got hit with the Nerf Bat, reducing his 1 gold piece from 10% to 5%, and the I Know Those Guys feat from 20% to 10%, and the All I Need feat from 40% to 20%. And because of this nerf, he can be dismantled. However, keep in mind, even with those nerfs, he's still a good buffer. Also, Nrak has some new feats to kind of counter the complication of his ultimate and stacking key. And we finally have a raise to the area cap. We can now go beyond 2001 up to 2501, meaning you can increase your favor quite a bit higher if you can reach 2501 and gold farm there. Also, there is a new UI feature called Active Tasks, where it kind of keeps track of everything you might want to keep track of. Make sure you give it a look. Thanks for looking at this vid on the old Stokester. What do you think about her? What do you think we're going to see next, for those of you who haven't spoiled yourselves already? Hit that like, sub, and bell, join the Tyredack community Discord in the links below. And there's something else. I swear I had something to say. Oh yeah, have a hell of a time out there, champion.